Okay, good. I'm going to show you a very easy variation of the Uchimada that you can do on a Jiu-Jitsu posture opponent. This is what it looks like. A Jiu-Jitsu opponent typically will bend over at the waist, keeping their head and shoulders forward and keeping their hips far away, with the idea that you're not going to be able to get your hips in and do like a traditional, conventional throw. The way that this throw works, let's start with the upper body and then we'll move down into the lower body, okay? My left hand on the sleeve is going to pull and attach to my left pec, and as I rotate, it's going to make his shoulders want to turn and go to the floor, okay? So watch the entry and pay attention to the left sleeve. Notice how it starts to pull his shoulders around the corner, and his foot is still connected to the floor, so he's not going to be thrown. But once we start to hop and try to uproot his connection with the ground, the moment he loses that connection, we should have enough force to immediately rotate his ungrounded body straight to the ground, okay? So hand on the sleeve is pulling high and attaching to your pec as you're rotating. Your left hand or your right hand on the collar. Let's rotate a little bit. Typical mistake people will make is they'll keep it in front of their opponent when they enter, and this will actually create a lot of space between you and your opponent when you want exactly the opposite. When you're ready to throw, you want to encroach really, really close and have your bodies connected. You don't want to be separated. So what we're going to do with this collar, we're going to have a lot of slack. As we're backstepping and entering, I'm going to move it out of the way and up. And then I'm going to pick my elbow up, and I'm going to bring my body next to his body and then start pushing his head to the ground, which he might already be in bent over position anyway, so it's going to actually be easier for us, okay? So pay attention to my right hand now. Look how my elbow is really high in the air. My head is above his head, and I'm driving his head to the floor, okay? Now with my legs, I already have my right leg forward, okay? Can you see my legs? Okay, I have my right leg forward already. I'm already bladed off. I'm just gonna do a back step and bring myself side by side with my opponent and be ready to reap his leg and pick his weight up to put it on the other leg, okay? So pay attention to my legs. Walk a little bit this way, please. Now notice my leg is in the same exact spot that his leg would be if he were standing. So they're like parallel, okay? It's like I become his leg. Now when I go to pick his leg up, I really want to make sure that I make good connection with his leg all along the leg and take his foot or his entire leg off the ground, and don't try to go straight up the middle, okay? Because you're going to reach a based opponent and it's going to require a lot of effort to throw him backstepping this far out from his center of gravity, okay? So when we backstep really far out side by side with this, like this, we're actually looking just to tip his weight onto this leg. That's our first goal. And then we're creeping in and we're trying to do our throw in like one go, okay? So pay attention to how I connect to this leg after I backstep. Here. Now when I go to finish this throw, I want to hop in a very specific way. I don't want to push into my opponent. I don't want to do like this. Sideways, like this, okay? Because they're just going to continue to keep their balance. What I want to do is take my connection with his thigh, with his leg. Once I pick it up off of the ground, balance for me, there we go. And I want to walk it deeper and deeper until I get to a point where when I hop and lift and turn to throw him, instead of just picking up his leg and putting weight on his other leg, it's actually picking up his whole, see how his toes want to come off the ground? That's what I'm looking for, okay? So I start really far away and I'm working myself deeper into a throw that I wouldn't have been able to get on a person who's really bent over with a really like jiu-jitsu style posture, okay? when I'm hopping in, I want to hop in kind of like a backwards circle. Okay, so when I do my back step and I'm side by side with him like this, my heel is going to go backwards in this direction like it's going to touch his heel. And every time I hop, and every time my leg goes deeper underneath his legs, I'm going to pull his sleeve and I'm going to force his head to the ground and I'm going to lift my leg. So I'm going here, here, here. Okay? So this version of Uchimada is not like what you would see in a normal judo posture, very upright. This is specifically designed for an opponent that's really bent over. We're already having an opponent with his head low, so it's going to be easy for us to continue to drive his head down. And this is going to be a really effective way to actually get in and work our way into a throw.